All right, today we're going to look at the zone of the Miami defense. Miami used the zone in particular when they went on a long run in the third quarter, and we're going to discuss whether I think it's a good thing or a bad thing, and whether the Heat will go back to it in the third game. All right, so first let's get some context. So the first thing of note is this is in game one. So the first thing I noticed is in game one, they seem to run it quite a bit more with a slight deviation. So the first off, they ran it the first time without Jokic being in the ballgame. The reason they did this, obviously, don't want the good passer. Denver's main concept is they want to get the ball inside to the middle. So you see Green right here is calling it they're in zone. And they want to get the ball into the inside. And if the pass isn't there, then just come set a screen, force a little reaction. You'll see this action several times. Okay, so it does result in Murray getting a decent look here. Okay, so we can see Denver still has the same basic concept though, is if they can't get the ball into the middle easily, they're going to set a ball screen and use that to try and get it in the middle. So that's the issue. This is the fear that the Heat have, is getting Jokic with the ball and the ability to pass the ball on the move, essentially. So this is exactly what the Heat are trying to avoid. One other side note that we can just notice is anytime the Heat are pressed up like this, they're always going to drop back into zone, every single time they have. Okay, so now we jump ahead to game two. This is in the third or fourth quarter. When the crucial points, this is essentially part of why Miami went on their big run to not only come back and equalize, but they also went up by 11, I think, at one point. So the first thing we're notice is Gabe Vincent right here. So what is Gabe Vincent doing? Gabe Vincent literally isn't even guarding like an area in the zone. He's literally just playing Jokic. So this is the first major difference between game one and game two, is they're almost dedicating one person to Jokic at all times. Okay? So this is almost relative to like a box and one, but like the one can sometimes change. A really interesting thing, and I love the idea that it just gets Denver out of their comfort zone. So forcing a difficult shot right there is fantastic, even though Brown saves it. So one of the big things that I want to comment on here is that Gabe Vincent is the smallest dude on the court, right? So why would they put the smallest dude on the court? Well, they put the smallest dude on the court on him because, one, it's way less likely to get fouls. Like when referees see anything contact from a small dude onto a big dude, they almost always side with the small dude. Almost always. And that's pretty much all levels of basketball. Okay, so putting Vincent on there allows him to be super physical. The other thing is it also takes one of your weaker defenders and just allows him to kind of be responsible for their best player while not giving up any threats. That's a wonderful move by the Heat. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, example number two from game two, just a small thing from Kyle Lowry right here. He gets to the inside, just casually bumps the ball to make sure Denver can't inbound it right away. Like, I love that kind of thing. Okay, so Miami's pressing up, so that means they're going to drop back into zone. Again, this just forces Denver to take a little bit of time off the clock. They want to get the ball into Jokic in the middle. Okay, so Jokic instantly sprints for the middle right here. And because Denver does a good job passing through the corner and then essentially forcing Miami to react, he's going to be open here. Vincent gets on the inside, however, and they get the foul call. So that's a win for Denver for sure. However, that shows what the goal of Denver is and what Miami's trying to prevent. One other thing is whenever they have a situation like this where a foul gets called or some kind of the ball goes out of bounds, whatever, they almost always switch up their defense, which I also love because it forces Denver to think on the fly instead of just resorting to what they just did. Now they have to play man-to-man defense or man-to-man offense immediately. Okay, and then the last example we're going to look at. So first off, we see Miami pressing up. Okay, so that means that they are going to press. So first off, notice the score right here. So obviously, Miami held Denver a decent amount, but what they really did is they scored on offense. So the other thing the zone does is it allows Miami to bring more shooters into the game, which gives them more opportunity on offense. And is probably what they're going to need to do because offense, I think, is going to dictate what the result of this series is. Okay, so again, we're looking at Jokic, seeing the priorities here. Okay, so Robinson is fronting Jokic, making sure he doesn't get the ball. They're sagging off. They honestly, they don't really care from these one pass away, catch and shoot threes if they're difficult. Okay, so this is the concept that I love right here. This shows what Miami's priorities are. Okay, so Butler here, your goal in the zone is you want to take away drives in the middle. You want to essentially provide help at all times. Okay, Butler has the drive goes in, what does he do when Jamal Murray drives by him? He literally goes away to where Jokic is, showing how much of a priority they emphasized on Jokic. They do not care that this is going to be a semi-contested shot at the rim. They care about where Jokic is, and that is their priority. So in conclusion, I think the zone worked wonderfully in Game 2. I am very curious to see how much they apply it in Game 3. I'm guessing they go to it even more, especially in specific situations. So the more that they can call it after a timeout or after a dead ball and essentially force Denver to think on the fly and react, take 3 seconds because they're pressuring up early, gives Miami even more opportunity and allows them to keep more shooters on the floor because it gives them more of kind of an out on defense.